Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the Bodega Cat Book Club Health Edition. And today we're continuing our reading of Never Be Sick Again by Raymond Francis. Okay, let's get to it. We are going to be reading chapter 11, and this will be part 1. And in the meantime, check out our other book clubs. We have our spiritual book clubs on Mondays every week, and our financial book clubs on Thursdays, every Thursday. So check them out. Check out our website, check out our healing center and our merch. And we're actually starting a new book because we'll be finishing this book, Never Be Sick Again, very soon. And we'll be starting a new book next month in August. And then we're starting a new spiritual book on in August as well. So check them out. All right, here we go. So this is chapter 11, and we see here a little, what do you call it? Summary, I guess, of the author's theory. So chapter 11, the title is called A Shift in Perspective. And if you remember, the summary or the author's theory is there is only one disease, which is cellular malfunction. And there are two causes, deficiency and toxicity. And then there are 6 pathways: nutrition, toxin, psychological, physical, genetic, and medical. And we've read all 6, so we'll have to see what he has to say in this particular chapter. So here we go. This pattern of high resistance and freedom from degenerative disease is seen whenever people live beyond the reach of modern civilization and are not suffering from famine. Charles McGee, MD, How to Survive Modern Technology. Perspective is everything. By reshaping our understanding of disease, we are empowered to create health. Are you ready to take charge of your health and experience a state of well-being that even your doctors may doubt is possible? As you have read, as you have read this book, you have discovered ways in which you must change your life in order to get better and in order to stay well. Perhaps you are fighting a disease with little success and now you see hope. Or perhaps you have considered yourself, quote, healthy, only to recognize that your body already is showing early warning signs of disease. Do you have a general feeling that your body is struggling to keep up? Are you confused or frustrated by your medical doctors or their recommended treatments? Are you distressed by the number of prescription drugs or over-the-counter medicines you take in order to keep going, even if you have no sense you're getting better? Are you suffering a variety of symptoms that no doctor has been able to help you with? Are you making unhealthful choices in the foods that you eat, in the products that you use on yourself or in your home, and in other aspects of your life? Before I got so sick and almost died in 1985, I lived a different life from the life I live today. I thought I was healthy and that I was living a healthy lifestyle. In reality, I was encouraging sickness. I suffered from a number of diseases: allergies, colds, flu, tooth decay, joint pain, abdominal pain, and fatigue. I went to physicians and dentists. I took antibiotics for infections, NSAIDs for pain, and antihistamines for my allergies. I occasionally took vitamins, but I did so whimsically without commitment and consistency. Ha, I'm guilty of that. Sorry. And certainly without a scientific understanding of which vitamins I should be taking and why. I ate most of my meals in upscale restaurants and spared no expense. My food choices, however, were based mostly on taste and enjoyment. I neither knew much nor thought much about nutrition. You know, it's interesting, just a side note, a lot of the um movies, advertisements, things like that, they make fun of people who eat healthy, like in California, right? We do like California are really pioneers, I think, in the healthy lifestyle, like with yoga, eating, non-GMO foods and things like that. And the entertainment industry kind of makes fun of it, but actually it's essential for survival, in my opinion. Healthy living and things like that. Just a thought. Anyways, when I did develop digestive problems and allergies, I was unaware that my food was causing the problems or that it would be possible to avoid them if I paid closer attention to what I ate. I am now aware of my allergy to dairy, but back then I ate ice cream, milk, and other dairy products almost daily. I developed itchy eyes, mucus, and sneezing fits after I ate them, but still I did not recognize the connection. I had grown accustomed to these, quote, minor nuisances and never imagined life could be so much better without them. I used to eat far too much meat and dairy, at least at one or two meals every day, unaware that most of the pesticides we are exposed to have bioaccumulated in the animal products we consume. Although I don't recommend a meat-free diet, I recommend eating meat only a few times a week and only that which has been organically produced. And just a side note, we read a book called The Holy Science by a yogi, and he went through in that book. You could check that out in our YouTube channel. In that book, he talks about how the teeth, the different structures of teeth, and what it's made to eat. So like the carnivores, they have different teeth than different teeth structure than, let's say, a herbivore or a fructiforian. So he says humans are made to eat fruit just the way our teeth is structured. We're not made to eat meat. Very interesting. Okay, the animal products I consumed back then contributed to my toxic load, as did the volumes of sugar, white flour, and processed oils that were a regular part of my diet. In addition, both as a graduate research assistant at MIT and in my first job as a chemist, I was exposed to extraordinary amounts of toxic chemicals. Chemicals that are used today only in small amounts and with protective equipment we use to slosh around in the lab as if they were water. Back then, we were unaware of the full extent of their toxicity, and the manufacturers were in no rush to study the toxicities. Yeah, because they're making a boohoo load of money. My discoveries about health and disease saved my life and changed my life forever. Side note, I think that's why it's so important to educate yourself. Yes, it can get confusing with all the information out there, but as I said, your intuition is your superpower, and your body is your number one doctor. So, I learned to recognize which foods harmed my health. I learned to listen to my body's own warning signs. I learned how to avoid getting sick and how to accelerate recovery. I learned how to get well and stay well. Since my recovery in 1987, I have rarely been sick. At age 65, I have more energy, vitality, and health than I did 20 years ago. I have taken no medications, neither a prescription drug nor an over-the-counter product in the past 17 years. Neither have I required the services of a physician in that time. I don't think, just a side note, I don't think I've seen a doctor in about, I want to say 10 years. And if I did get sick, I kind of let the sickness run its course. So, anyways, I am no longer debilitated by my allergies. If I do get sick, if I know what I can do to improve my situation. On the rare occasion that I do come down with a cold, I take plenty of high quality vitamin C, and the cold vanishes in a matter of hours rather than after days or weeks of misery. The lightning bolt that sparked these massive changes in my life and which guides my life today was a radical change in my perspective. The Buddha talks about that, one of the eightfold paths. One of them is the correct perception, or right, right thought is what he said, I think. Right thought or right perspective. I now see health as a choice entirely within my control. I optimize my choices along all six pathways and avoid disease. I shun, quote, modern medicine, prescription drugs, and other traditional treatments because I recognize that they treat the symptoms and not the causes of disease. Furthermore, modern medical treatments do harm. Because I'm able to keep my health in balance, I do not need drugs, medical treatments, or doctors. I eat a wide variety of fresh organic foods, either from farmers market or health food stores. My favorites include apple, raw nuts, and fresh vegetables used to make salads. I eat animal protein a few times a week, usually deep water ocean fish, not farmed, organically produced poultry without antibiotics and hormones, and organic eggs. I drink bottled water delivered in glass bottles. I supplement my diet with essential fatty acids and I avoid hydrogenated oils. On rare occasions, I do have desserts, but even then, I avoid common allergens like dairy. I definitely do not succumb to the daily after dinner, quote, sweet tooth. That's probably a myth too, huh? It's probably propaganda also. Refined sugar has been almost completely cut out of my life because it is so very dangerous. I avoid all corn and corn products because corn is now genetically contaminated as well as often being moldy. I minimize white potatoes and have completely eliminated French fries because they are one of the most toxic foods we eat. I take a variety of high quality supplements, including amino acids prior to meals, multivitamins, extra calcium, magnesium, vitamin E, quercetin, and coenzyme Q10. I also take digestive enzymes with my meals. In my home, I have natural fiber carpets. I have a filter on my shower to remove the chlorine, and I replace my gas-fired water heater with an electric unit. On my body, I use only shampoo and soap that do not have synthetic foaming agents, stabilizers, preservatives, colors, or fragrances. Sometimes even the quote unquote natural soap, let's say, for example, they might have fragrance in there. So you really have to read the labels. You really have to read the labels, even those that are touted organic or natural or whatever. For exercise, I do daily rebounding, walking or hiking. Daily during weekly visits to the gym, I do gentle weightlifting, treadmill bicycling, and absolutely a sauna afterward to detoxify. I keep my spirits up by having purpose in my life, being excited about what I'm doing, and having people in my life that I care about. I teach as many as I can how to be healthy. All of the factors bring a sense of purpose and encouragement. I live in the present and in the future, and I do not dwell on the past. If I had only one day left to live, I would want to be excited about living that day. Getting sick is harder than staying well. You may wonder if you have the ability, the energy, and the resolve to make these kind of changes, uh, to make these, oh, okay, let's try that again. You may wonder if you have the ability, the energy, and the resolve to make these kinds of life changes yourself. You do. But change is difficult, especially in the beginning. As I was reforming my life, I had to make a lot of adjustments. What I know for certain is that health problems are much harder to live with than these solutions. More expensive too, I think. When I recognize that something I eat, something I do, or something I expose myself to will make me sick, I simply do not want it anymore. It truly becomes that easy. You need to become a leader. However, as those around you may add pressure or distraction, and they might make fun of you too. I think people are so mean sometimes, especially people around you that you love. But you gotta have a thick skin and just brush it off and move on because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. If the people you live with or work with are eating unhealthful diets, you must be the one to set a different example. I still get mocked sometimes or by my partner. He's come a long way. We've learned to switch to organic. He's learned that the food pyramid is a scam, but he still makes fun of me for not eating meat. And he likes bacon. I don't eat bacon. I don't eat beef. I try not to, anyways. If I do, it's an accident, which has happened before. And you just kind of give thanks for the food and you move on. You don't worry about it. You don't uh feel guilty about it. You just, you know what? Just move on. People often ask me if I miss some of the quote bad things. No, I don't. Tastes change. New tastes can be acquired in a few weeks, and old ones can be lost. I used to love filet mignon, but after not eating it for 10 years, I lost my taste for it. I had a fantastic filet mignon a couple of years ago, and I didn't like it. People also often ask me whether this healthy lifestyle costs more than some may be able to afford. I think in the long run, just a side note, it's probably cheaper. I mean, yes, you pay more, and I think it's criminal that they make us pay more for healthy food. But in the long run, if you add it up, it's probably cheaper than all the surgeries and medications and doctor's visits combined, right? I have found actually that eating a healthy diet costs less than eating a poor diet. It costs a lot more to make yourself sick. People regularly tell me that they cut their food budgets in half by improving their diets. Organic fruits, vegetables, beans, grains, and unprocessed oils may be more expensive than their non-organic counterparts, but in the end, a diet made up of healthful foods is cheaper. And you eat less. I mean, if you eat healthy food, I think the body doesn't need a lot of food. I mean, you could probably get away with a meal a day. Um, you don't need to eat 3 meals a day, like they say, or even 5 times a day, like some people say. I don't think you need to do that. That's just my experience, anyways. Consider what you pay for organic whole grains per pound versus what you pay for packaged breakfast cereal per pound. And you will realize quickly that unhealthful processed foods are much more expensive. Deadly make-believe foods like ice cream, cola drinks, and potato chips are expensive, provide little nutrition, and damage your cells. I think more expensive as an accumulated, what do you call it? Over time, I think. Not purchasing them saves your money and your health. Even when a healthful choice does cost more, the purchase is well worth the investment because being sick is very expensive. The same holds true for supplements. The most expensive supplement of all is one that doesn't work, no matter how little you pay for it. High quality supplements cost more, but they deliver the most nutrients to your cells. Most cheap vitamins do nothing or almost nothing, and many contain toxins. Many vitamin products cause both deficiency and toxicity. Another important investment in health is to spend a little more on personal care and home care products that do not harm your body. In making selections of toothpaste, shampoo, deodorants, skin creams, and cosmetics, a most important criterion is that your body not be harmed. Selecting organic foods is not good enough. You must also select safe products. If a product cannot be ingested without poisoning you, then it is not safe enough to put on your skin or your hair or your teeth. Look at the swallowing warnings on a typical sorry, look at the swallowing warnings on a typical tube of toothpaste. Consult Appendix C for safe brands of toothpaste and other products. And we'll read the appendix at the end of the book when we get there. I think we've read bits and pieces of it here and there in the past episodes. The sad truth is that most personal care products are toxic. These toxins bioaccumulate in your body and cause disease. Look at your health in a new way, especially makeup. Ooh, I haven't put makeup. I don't think I've put makeup on in, what is it, 20, 30 years? After I found out what they do to the animals. Oh my gosh, it's just heartbreaking. And all the toxins they put in there. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. No, thank you. The perspective we have to change is the way we look at and evaluate our own health. If you're going to solve your own health problems, you must first acknowledge they exist. We all grow up thinking that health is a given until we, quote, get sick. Rather than being static, however, health is a sliding scale. And our position and direction on that scale can change on a daily basis. This is why we need to learn how to evaluate our own health in a meaningful and ongoing way so as to avoid getting ourselves deteriorate to the point where we become sick. And it's like, just a side note, it's almost like 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. And it's the same with any kind of quote unquote alternative medicine or alternative healing technology. So a lot of people come to my center, healing center, and ask, well, how many sessions do I need? It really depends on the person, depends on the energy, depends on the how chronic the disease is, how long that person has that disease, what is that person's emotional status, mental status, they're all affected. And so you know, you might feel good after a session, and that energy might dissipate because you're going back to your stressful lifestyle or your EMF environment or your whatever, and you have to come back on a regular basis to rejuvenate and revitalize. And some people, they might not feel anything, so it really is an individual basis. But you want to do it on a regular basis. And I always say, whatever it is that you do, do it regularly and consistently. And it doesn't have to be coming to our center. You can do other modalities as well. But do it consistently and regularly, based on your time and your budget. So that's always been my advice to people. And you be your own doctor, you be your own physician, and educate yourself about the technology, whatever modality that you're going for. See if it fits you. And there might be time in your life, in your health journey, where one modality might work better than another, um, based on your health situation at that time. So really, seeking doctors and alternative medicine is like a snapshot of your health at that particular time. And it changes every day, it changes every year, it changes every week. So that's my little 2 cents. As I was gradually losing my health, no one told me I was sick. In fact, I was told the opposite. At my periodic physical exams, my physicians pronounced me in perfect health, even though I had required many fillings in my teeth, and I suffered from a serious immune deficiency disease. namely from a seasonal allergy called hay fever. Each year, I suffered from one or more colds, and every several years from a bout of flu. I was led to believe, however, that tooth decay, colds, flu, and allergies are all normal, and that I was healthy. Kind of sounds funny when you put it that way, huh? Tooth decay, colds and flu, and allergies are normal. It's like, that doesn't sound right. The fact is, no one should have tooth decay, colds, flu, allergies, or any other disease. If you do have any of these problems, you are experiencing substantial amounts of cellular malfunction and you are sick. Living with even that amount of cellular malfunction shortens your life and makes you susceptible to a host of other disease problems. Unless you do something different, your health will only get worse with time, not better. Health cannot be improved by continuing to do the same things that made you sick. Now is the time to make health your responsibility. How to read the warning signs. We all need to learn how to read the body signals so that we can evaluate our own health and health decline. Our body tells us when it is having trouble. Our problem is that we don't listen. Subtle signals are ignored until the problem becomes serious enough to demand attention. How healthy are you? Often the warning signs are evident in your appearance. Simply put, you don't look well. In addition, you should ask yourself whether you are experiencing fatigue, aches and pains, skin problems, allergies, digestion troubles, sleep difficulties, susceptibility to infections, weight issues, mood, thought, or behavior problems. These warning signs appear in ways that are usually easily recognized. Consider individually the signs listed. Appearance. The body gives off visual signals, and we can learn to recognize them. I remember once seeing a friend and thinking, he doesn't look well. Not long thereafter, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. How many times have we looked at others and realized that they didn't look well? Before I look, before I Before I took sick, my family thought I looked pale. Are you pale? Are there dark circles under your eyes? Are there wrinkles on your face? Is your hair graying? How well do you move? Are you well coordinated? Are your eyes dull? Appearance matters. It is easy to check and it should be checked on a regular basis. There's a congressman right now, I forgot his name, but his eyes look really dull. Like if you look at his eyes, it just looks like there's no life in there. Looks very dull. I was gonna say something else. Oh, yes, cancer also has a smell, a specific smell. I had a friend many years ago who was a vegan, and he told me, Christina, I've gotten to the point where I can look at somebody and I can tell whether he or she has cancer because I could see it and I could smell it, he says. Interesting, eh? Energy level. Fatigue is probably the most common complaint made to doctors in our society because energy production at the cellular level is one of the first things affected as our cells malfunction and become diseased. If you do not have the energy you used to have, aging is not the problem. You are getting sicker. Remember the boundless energy that healthy people like the Hunzas had? They performed physical feats such as traveling 60 miles in one day on foot in mountainous terrain and returning looking as though they had gone for a casual walk. Contrast this to the fatigue so many of us feel during the day, perhaps needing several cups of coffee just to keep going. Even many of our teenagers struggle with fatigue. Skin problems. Our skin is the barometer of overall health, but we are taught to think of a skin problem as just that, a skin problem. This is outmoded. I used to have a lot of skin problems when I was younger. That's because I was eating unhealthy. But as I switched my graduate gradually switched my diet to organic stuff. I still have skin issues once in a while, but not as bad. When I was younger, it was very, very bad. Like any disease, skin problems are the result of systemic cellular malfunction. We may notice it in the skin, but the problem is likely affecting every cell in the body. The proper solution is not to use products like a cortisone ointment, but to restore the cells to good health. If your skin is dry, flaky, irritated, itchy, thin, and has lost its elasticity, or if you develop skin lesions of any kind, you are not healthy. Allergies. Allergies are not normal, and they do long-lasting damage to the body. Enhancing the health of your cells can eliminate allergies. Millions of Americans suffer from runny noses, sneezing, itching of the eyes, sinus problems, headaches, abdominal pain, diarrhea, skin rashes, and numerous other problems as a result of allergies and sensitivities to foods, pollens, chemicals, and other substances in our environment. We tend to look upon these reactions as, quote, benign inconveniences rather than the symptoms of a body out of balance. Allergies should be looked upon as a serious acquired immune dysfunction syndrome and treated by improving cellular health and strengthening the immune system. Do you sneeze, develop a runny nose, or have itchy eyes after eating a meal? Are your fingers sometimes swollen so that it is difficult to take off or put on a ring? Do you get loose stools after eating certain foods? All of these and more can be symptoms of allergic reactions. A body with allergies is not crying out for over-the-counter or prescription antihistamines, but for solving the problems of cellular malfunction. Like any like any other disease, allergies can be both prevented and reversed by restoring normal function to the cells in your immune system. By working to minimize the deficiency and toxicity of my cells, I went from being allergic to virtually everything called a quote universal reactor to living a normal life. Digestion troubles. Do you have problems such as digestion, inability to eat a wide variety of foods, intestinal cramps, abdominal bloating, excess gas, diarrhea, constipation, acid reflux, low energy, slow wound healing, or difficulty concentrating and thinking quickly and clearly? Good digestion is a foundation for achieving peak performance and optimal health. That's why they call it the second brain, your gut health, second brain. Yet digestive problems are epidemic in our society and they prevent millions of people from living the healthy, productive lives they would like. Most of our digestive problems are the direct result of poor diets, toxic exposure, lack of exercise, unresolved stress, and over-the-counter and prescription drugs. Digestive problems are more serious than people imagine. For if you are not properly digesting your food and assimilating its nutrients, you will get sick, guaranteed. Poor digestion is a perfect prescription for deficiency and toxicity, the two causes of disease. Heartburn, bloating, gas, and other digestive problems should not just be treated by antacids and other medications and then forgotten. These problems are a wake-up call that one of our major body systems is not working right. A better solution is to chew your food well, do proper food combining, stay away from foods you're allergic to, take probiotics and digestive enzymes, and exercise regularly. Antibiotics may be the leading cause of digestive problems, and these dangerous drugs should be avoided for that reason alone. Sleep difficulties. Sleep is critical to health, but few of us sleep on adequate amount, and a growing number of people suffer from various sleep disorders, such as disturbed sleep patterns and insomnia. Much of the time, sleep problems are symptoms that the hormones and chemicals the body uses to cope with stress are being depleted. The physical consequences of inadequate sleep have a negative effect on health and performance. Healthy people like the Hunzas went to bed when it got dark and woke up with the sun. They try to go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning. Even on weekends, giving the body adequate and regular rest is important to maintaining good health. And now I sleep I wake up when I wake up without any alarm clock. Sleep is important. When you think about it, just a side note, your body has one job to do when you're sleeping, and that is to heal. Heal the cells, regenerate the cells, revitalize the cells, uh, and heal the body. During the day, when you're awake, you're exerting energy for other stuff, right? Taking kids to school, driving, balancing the checkbook, uh, answering phone calls at work, cooking, cleaning, whatever. But when you're sleeping, the body doesn't expend energy for other stuff. It just has one thing to do, and that's to heal. Susceptibility to infection. Colds and flus are not just inconveniences, they are alarm bells telling us that all is not well. While seen as a minor illness, each cold does permanent damage to the body, causing us to age prematurely. Yet millions of Americans suffer 4 to 6 colds per year, sometimes taking weeks to resolve. Healthy people do not get infections, and if they do, they recover from them very quickly. You may recall that the healthy Hunzas never suffered from colds, and that a 133-year-old man in Vilcabamba had suffered only several colds in 133 years, not several in one year as many of us do. A cold or flu that lingers is further proof of widespread cellular malfunction. If people around you are sick, worry about strengthening your own immunity, not about hiding from germs. Building immunity is a long-term project. Reacting in an emergency situation when you feel sickness coming on is something else. Here are ideas of how to accomplish both. To prevent colds, take plenty of vitamin C, 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams per day. If you're sick already, take vitamin C to bowel tolerance, which means taking it up to the point where you begin getting excessive gas or diarrhea and then backing off. Bowel tolerance will differ depending on who you are and what your state of health is. If I feel a cold coming on, I put 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C in a glass of water and drink it down every 30 to 60 minutes. In a matter of hours, the cold will be gone. B vitamins are important, as are zinc and high quality cod liver oil. Olive leaf extract can also be helpful. It is a powerful natural antibiotic. And of course, avoid damaging your immunity with sugar, white flour, poor digestion, prescription drugs, or anything that you are allergic to. Weight problems. Some people think being overweight is more of a fashion concern than a serious disease. Many people attribute weight problems to, quote, genetics, saying that such problems run in their family. The truth is that being overweight is a sign that cells are malfunctioning. Often, an addiction to sugar is part of the problem, and this problem needs to be treated like any other addiction. Proper diet and lifestyle changes that improve cellular health are virtually guaranteed to solve weight problems. Overweight patients need to heal their cells just like cancer patients and heart disease patients. Worse, weight problems are frequently the prelude to more serious chronic diseases. Mood, thought, or behavioral problems. The ability to, the ability to think quickly and clearly, to concentrate, learn, and remember are the benefits of healthy cells and a healthy body. A problem with any of these indicates deficiency and toxicity at the cellular level, usually the result of inappropriate diets, environmental toxins, lack of exercise, and unresolved stress. Brain cells function normally when they have all the nutrition they need and do not have toxins that interfere with them. The person who flies off the handle with little provocation is often seen as having a particular personality type. The same for those who have problems getting along with others or working out conflicts in a calm and rational manner. Most of the time, however, these problems point back to the same two causes of disease, deficiency and toxicity. We are currently experiencing an unprecedented epidemic of depression, learning disabilities, violent behavior, and other types of mental disease. Many of these mental problems usually result from the fact that the function of our brains and nervous systems has never been more compromised. We have two families right now in our prayer list, on our prayer list, who are dealing with kids that have violent behavior. And they're not kids, they're like adults, like in their 30s or young adults. Very interesting. We've been praying for them for about 2 years now. Wow. Anyways, interesting. If you have any prayer requests, prayer petitions, I'll leave a link below and uh, you can write us about it. Um, in my spiritual community, Astara, I'll leave a link for that as well. You could check it out. We have reverends or spiritual practitioners that pray over the prayer petitions and healing petitions every day. And for those who submit healing petitions, those who have like physical illness, mental illness, or emotional illness, we have our energy healers that the spiritual practitioners who are energy healers, we have them do healing sessions on them every day as well. So if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and submit it. And yeah, we'll pray for you because prayer works. It it really we need all the help we can get. That's the way I see it. And that's what our job here is to do, is to bring in the light, to ease suffering as much as we can. It might not seem much, just saying, "Oh, we'll pray for you," but really it's it works and it's heavy duty work, in my opinion, anyways. All right, enough of that. Okay, worse. Physicians usually try to, quote, solve these problems by giving those afflicted toxic, mind-altering chemicals. There was a podcast I was listening to. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I just listened to part of it. But it was a podcast about a girl who was diagnosed with a bunch of psychiatric issues and they were giving her a lot of psychiatric meds and how she got out of that and broke that chain. Interesting. I'll put that link in the description box below as well so you guys can check it out. All right, we'll stop there for now. I hope you enjoyed that. That was very interesting. A lot of good practical information. That's what I like about this book. You could take one little paragraph or one little aspect and work that, for a whole week and see what happens. Kind of like I always said, be your own scientist, do your own experiment on on yourself. See what works, see what doesn't. And it's kind of fun actually, it's like a little adventure. Um, Very different from what we're programmed to think, right? I want this done, I want this fixed, and I want it fixed now, this minute. But no, health is not like that. All right. Anyways, I hope you guys all have a great day, and we will see you next time. And check out all our links down below in the description box and our other book clubs and blah, 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 blah. Okay, bye-bye now.